Lance will nod.
Also, he seemed to, for some reason, also take a liking to Brienne. If she is around, see if she also can join in.
A minor frown and then an accepting nod.
Let him smile slightly.
Quite the surprising like, though I don't know if Brienne will accept.
I am sure she will. He looks at Laenys meaningfully.
Laenys is clearly more unsure than you are.
Very well then. I need some rest. Good work, nephew. Your father would be proud.
A frown laid to his face when you say that.
Does him make some sort of motion towards Squalor, who caws, flies up, and flies before him into the castle as he makes his way up and into his room.
Laenys will come back, readying his training sword again, looking out, or a tawny sword, I suppose, out, looking at everyone.
Yeah, they will spar more.
Mm-hmm.
What is Nima doing?
Gathering information.
In what way?
She is gonna walk around as this, doing stuff that these newcomers want her to do, and gather some information, because what she's learned is servant folk is often the unseen people. Not very interesting.
Sure. Are the servants here used to Nima doing this sort of thing?
The servants would, yeah.
All right. Each of these people, each of these three have someone to, on post to take care of their needs. She could replace any of those.
She would like to replace one of those.
Which one?
The oldest one.
All right, sure. He generally he will through the evening ask for his food in his room.
Mm-hmm.
And he will also ask for ink and paper, and an extra candle.
Mm-hmm.
Then he will leave some time to go and walk the ramparts and such, and then on his way back strike up a conversation with her about the daily goings on here, and whether or not she believes that the bandits or whatnot out in the forest are a threat.
Mm-hmm.
She knows about them. What's the logistics? How many are they? What sort of damages do they do? If she knows.
Nima probably knows, but it would be a little weird for a servant girl to know, so she would give what the servants often tell her. And is he gonna write something, and is he gonna tell Nima to deliver it somewhere?
No, he will not. He will just want paper and the ink. He is very authoritative. Basically, he doesn't really allow Nima to ask anything. He just sort of asks questions, making in a way that makes it very clear that she's supposed to answer and then not do anything else.
She will catch on that quickly and will do as he wants and hope for some slips on his behalf.
Well, he does not seem to have a big deal of thought. He seems to. She will notice that there's light from his room, candlelight, for actually quite far out in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. The night otherwise goes without really too much happening, and the next morning the sun comes up sort of late, and sort of just as the first rays begin to come. Brienne, there is something.
Yes, Brienne goes to bed early and wakes up early, having an idea in mind and figuring this would probably be the best opportunity for her to execute it. She will dress again in her noble garments that she has purchased for her occasion. Her black silken gown with red trim, with a woven belt studded with rubies. I mean, this costs so many fucking gold dragons, And clad in red-dyed leather boots ornamented with black scroll work. She will take the time in the early morning to go to the kitchen and prepare a simple meal, because she did it for the Dornish men plenty of times, maybe some warm bread. And with that in mind, she is going to gently and quietly walk to the door where a servant had told her that Oswald had been bedded, and she will quietly rap on the door. Yes. I suppose I dragged my token all the way out here whenever I ran from the painting discussion, but this works too.
Down here
All
in
the way
corner.
out here.
Yes.
There'll be a little bit of a scuffle. Oswald will come open the door. Seemingly, from the sound, he was not dressed, but up this time.
Brienne
He seems to have been well rested.
Okay. Brienne will fully bow and quietly say, "My lord, my apologies for knocking so early, but I had hoped to speak with you and perhaps share some bread." And she will like curtsy towards him, for she is several years younger, and he is a man, and she'll extend the small meal that she had prepared.
He'll look slightly surprised at her, taken aback, as he will sort of just gesture for her to come into his room. Seeming a little confused if that's proper, but probably figuring that he's the guest, so it must be.
Absolutely. Bree will follow in.
He'll sit down in like the reading chair, probably only being one in the room, but then looking at her, then getting up and then moving to sit on his bed and letting the chair be for her. As he will say, it smells good.
Thank you, my lord Trent. Should I call you that? She tilts her head.
If it please my lady.
My lord Trent, then, and she offers a coquettish smile. We had spoken briefly last night, but you were most wary and naturally incapable of entertaining my fancies. I have not had the luxury of traveling from the castle here, what with the bandits and other difficulties, and I hear that you and your brothers are very well traveled. Could I indulge in hearing your stories? I would particularly be very much interested, especially if your fingers are well rested, in hearing you play your instrument. Perhaps in an area outside, away from the quarters.
You look at the bread and then look at her and says, "Yeah, I mean, of course, my lady. That would be. I would be most honored to entertain you with my instrument."
Thank you, my lord Trent.
Yes, he will look at her, sort of like take it back and sort of reach for a loaf of bread.
Okay.
Brought some like butter or cheese or something too.
Sure.
He'll take a slice of that and then taste it and then say, This is most fine, my lady. Did you make this yourself?
I did. My apologies. I did not wish to cause an undue disturbance this morning. I worked with what my hands had available. The servants do have to prepare a larger meal for everyone else later.
Yes, I see. Well, it melts my heart to know that you would think to do me such courtesy.
It, I think, is only fair payment for the impositions that I am placing upon you today, my lord Trent.
It is nothing. I mean, we have traveled quite far, and especially in this region. My brother very much enjoys the marshes.
What have you enjoyed the most of your travels?
He seems to think. Well, says, the Reach, my lady. The ladies in the Reach are so fair, and the food and wine are better than they are back in the Stormlands.
Ah, so you have come in part seeking fair ladies. Then I must apologize for my hideous countenance, my lord Trent. And she'll extend like a gloved hand to like her face.
He looks slightly horrified, not sure what to say. I had not noticed such minor details, my lady.
Smooth.
As he stares at them.
Like Brienne frowns. Perhaps there's like a small
I'm
like
not
mirror of like
sure
mirror's glass.
as to what you gesture to.
Oh, he's laying it on.
I merely see
Oh
your face.
god, it's like a syrup. He's laying on thick.
as
But
Lady
Brienne-
Elissa in the song with which I'm sure you're familiar. Perhaps I shall play it for you later.
Brienne's frown will like ease up and say, "That would please me very much, my lord Trent."
I know it well. It is a song of the lady who was so fair that none dared look upon her, and all who did grew blind, my lady.
Are you saying that I would make you blind if you stared at me too long, my lord Trent?
This poor kid.
If the seven seas right and are just, then indeed I imagine so, my lady.
This poor kid.
The
Brienne is just fucking with him at this point.
Bree will just keep her polite smile. Just won't answer to that. You know, they can.
He seems kind of emboldened by Bree's sort of acceptance of his words without,
She will not challenge him. Build up his confidence.
He'll certainly enjoy the bread and then ask her if she knows of a quiet place where the two of them might be alone for a while, so she can hear the music without disturbing the castle.
Yes, Bree, I think, having spent so much time in the castle, wanting to get away from the eyes of others, could list off a number of quiet places where the two could just spend their time together. I don't know. Like, I don't know the exact design of the castle as a metagame-wise. Pick the one that's the most suitable, Malachi. And
Where do you want the place to be? We'll make one. Maybe there's like a hidey hole outside near something.
Yeah, yes,
like
a hidey hole. You can get like a nice view of like the beautiful forests of the lands of House Caladan. That sounds great.
The flax fields, you know.
Yes.
Go there in sort of morning,
The stream
morning
gently
dew,
burbling.
as the sunlight makes the forest sparkle as the little droplets of water reflected. Sort of a rainbowish effect almost, as the heat generally evaporates the air, making
Bree
a
will,
rays.
Bree will
trails.
walk on like her supple leather boots, and she'll stumble a little, and then she'll say, "My apologies, my lord Trent. Could you perhaps steady me as we walk?" And she'll like outstretch her arm.
He'll seem a little embarrassed that he didn't think of it, and he'll be just, of course, my lady. Anything for you.
Thank you. It is easy to see that you, my lord Oswald Trent, have all of the honor and prestige of your father.
Sort of looks a little bit taken aback and says, "Oh, thanks, my lady." A little surprised at that notion.
She'll again smile shyly.
She will. So perhaps you don't know my father very well, but they all can be forgiven. She will lead her to the spot. Sit down.
She'll offer that stupid airy courtier laugh that like fucking people.
And he'll begin to play a song about a maiden Tyrell girl who was so fair that no man could look upon her without growing blind. And so all the greatest knights came to prove that they could, and none of them could. Until the warrior himself attempted. He grew blind too. It's a sad story. She never had to read.
Brienne will listen enraptured, and she will say, "That is an awfully complimentary story, then, for you to compare me as such. I am most thankful for your kind words, though I am unsure whether you are being sincere. After all," she like gestures again to herself, "there is not much hope of future for me."
I'm sure were I not already promised to, arrange to another, begins. So let me sing you another song. He will send to a much longer song about the autumn winds. Not really courtly as such, but I mean, he has a fine singing voice.
All right, that's great then. Brienne won't have to pretend so hard. She will listen with rapt attention, her eyes like glistening over at the words.
after this one, he will begin to sing of the trident and the fish that swim upstream. So, he seems to enjoy the singing and the playing at the same time. Perhaps it also gives him an excuse to not have to think about what to say.
Yes. But after that,
confident while doing that.
After that song, Bree says, "Please forgive me, my Lord Trant, but I am not that well versed. What does that song mean?"
What? Which one?
The last song, the trident and the fish swimming up. She like pantomimes with a hand.
Oh, well, it is a song about the in the time of Aegon's conquest, the Tullys were attempting to swim upstream. At the time, the Iron Men were they were controlling the Riverlands, and the Tullys went against them. This was a way to bring up the word from the Tullys to the other River Lords without alerting the Iron Men to their intent. Of course, the great Aegon destroyed the Iron Men at Harrenhal and freed them. After which the Tullys swore their eternal service, becoming Lords Paramount of the Trident. Yes.
How many songs have you learned on your travels, my Lord Trant?
I know at least 13.
Oh my!
Some more, perhaps.
Is
a little flattered.
Do you find this your passion, then? Shall you pursue this minstrel life for the rest of your days?
He frowns slightly and says, I mean, I would like to, but it is not lordly. Not lordly enough, at least. I'll say, sort of straightening his back a little bit.
Say, and she'll frown at that and say, "Many would challenge, but you are of noble birth, and you get to determine your path in life, my Lord Trant."
Looks and says, "Why do you say that?"
For you are of noble birth, are you not?
Not just, yeah.
Then you, highborn, are bestowed, imbued with blessing. You make your own way. And then suddenly...
A wild phone appears.
It's Dessem showing up.
Yes. What is Bree trying to do here?
Bree is merely attempting to she doesn't have an ulterior motive other than ingratiating herself with him. She's being deceitful. She doesn't really care about him. Only insofar as what it matters for her house's fortunes, particularly if it could involve, say, him being married to a cousin of hers. She wants to see, she wants to at least get her foot in the door so that they have a good rapport, just in case she might ask anything further of him in the future.
Well, it sounds like this is a great opportunity to try out a simple intrigue.
All right.
Because you have a goal, and, he might also have one. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. What would you say your disposition is? How do you act towards him?
Fuck. This is, as noted, she is being deceitful, and she doesn't really care about him. She is going to be flat out indifferent here, actually warming up from her typical stance of dislike. It's just that her words are so flowery and kind and flatteriness for her to just not be like cold and distant.
Sure. Yeah, all right. He seems to like her more than she likes him.
That's okay with her.
Yeah.
Those were the steps that she built.
Perhaps his older brother's good mood in this place has encouraged him a bit.
All right.
So to speak.
Uh,
All right.
What is that sound?
I don't know what that is.
Is that from Manaki?
No, that's DDS.
No, I don't think it's from me. I hear
Oh. Holy shit.
I don't know what that was. That was.
All right then.
Okay.
Sure. So now we have the dispositions. We know that you want to improve your disposition with him.
Yes. Charm him through lies.
Deception act.
Damn dark.
So,
I don't know what the hell
now,
happened to your microphone.
now we roll a to see who goes first in the intrigue. See if they can get what they want out of the other one. We roll an initiative, which is done by rolling a status with the bonus from reputation.
All right.
Which he doesn't have any of. So.
We'll go ahead and roll mine. -7.
It is 7 as well, but you win because you have the more dice.
Yay!
So
You
you
scrub Lord Bastardborn. All right. What do I do from here, Manaki?
Well, from here basically, you say what you say to him.
Okay.
What does Bree say to him?
Bree says, "That is correct, is it not? I mean, you have had the ability and capability to survive your traveling through quite an extensive part of the Reach, and you do bear the name of your father, Trent. You are a very skilled minstrel, and you sing most well, and you were so very kind in entertaining a child such as myself with how I look. How can you not set your fate and destiny for yourself? How can it not be the road that you build?"
And he will look at her and he will say, I suppose, but it is also, I think I understand what you're saying, that we should not care what others think. He moves slightly closer, so looks at her and says, I do not see any problems with you, and you do not, to me, look like a child, my lady.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well.
All right.
Yeah. So what would you say that you were, and what maybe the others can help here too. What was he doing? He's saying he's being deceitful.
Yes.
And it sounds like he's trying to charm.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that charm
Or
act.
perhaps convince could work as well.
Seems charm to me.
Yeah.
He's kind of that whole thing. I don't see you like a child. I'm like moving closer. That seems to indicate something.
charm.
Right? Yeah. What do you think, Griff?
Bree's intent and what I think is definitely attempting to charm him by sympathizing with, like, his condition. Like, it's known in the back of our minds, he's bastard born. But Bree is electing to try and portray him in a positive light. That he is not. She's sympathizing with his station and trying to elevate him.
So that would be a deception act roll to influence him.
Yes, let me go ahead and roll that. My deception, I don't have any bonus dice. Let me go ahead and give that a right here. 9.
Alright, yeah. Seem to have persuade him some. Let's see.
Charm, it's based on your persuasion rank, the amount of damage.
I don't know whether it changes to deception rank based on the fact that it's based in deception.
It would be deception rank.
Yeah, which is 3.
3. Alright. He does seem to like you, however, so it does have a... Yeah. Yeah, alright. And he will try to influence you. And he will try to seduce you.
Okay.
Oh my.
You know the call.
She can defend herself pretty well. I've seen her character sheets.
She could rip this dude's head off. I mean,
Yeah.
shit.
Well, I can't handle it that well whenever he rolls a 4, 5, and a 5. That definitely defeats her
Wow.
intrigue defense of 9.
Yeah, that is then a 2 successes, 2 degrees.
Based on persuasion.
Yes, and that would deal 3 damage times 2, which is 6.
My indifferent DR is 4, so I take 2.
Composure.
2, okay. My composure's down to 7 out of 9. Briyenn will, I suppose, giggle a little nervously.
I mean, it is flattering, right?
Yes, she is not used to this attention.
It's doing something.
Yes. Briyenn
Well,
is confused.
all these feelings.
Yes.
Now you get to go again, as is the second round of this tree.
Briyenn is confused and will giggle and say, "My lord, Trent is too kind. I will say, however, that in all of your time exploring in the region, all of the lofty position that you have ahead of you, there will be more and greater that you end up seeing. After all, you are here to arrange a marriage tying our houses together, which will be the first step on an even greater to success and prosperity. There are fortunes and opportunities." Like, she doesn't know how to fucking phrase it because she's nervously giggling now.
Sure. He will, however, press his assault, so to speak.
That is not exactly how he phrases it, is it? Because
I hope
He'll
not.
say, "Well, my lady, even if I am here for a marriage arrangement, the lords and ladies of the Reach, being a Stormlander, I hear the stories, are known for their adventures. Perhaps it would be interesting for both of us to, before we are married off, to sample the palette of the world."
oh my.
Gasp.
What the hell does that mean?
You know
He's
exactly what that means.
He's
He wants
basically saying,
He
let's
wants
fuck.
to sample her
So-
palette.
So what is
What is that?
He wants to fuck.
what are you trying to do now?
Shit.
Bree is still keeping with her mindset of charming him. She still thinks that he's a bastard, and that as the third son, he's never going to amount to anything of value.
Hard,
And
bro.
she wants him to be useful to her in a fashion. And damn it, she's trying to charm him by filling his head with lies, and she did not think that this would go this way.
All right.
How are you
Well-
hoping?
She can certainly do another deception act.
Okay, I'm
See
going
how
to.
convincingly she can sell it.
Okay. I'll go ahead and just throw my flat 3 dice here. Again, a 9.
All right.
And perhaps, spending a destiny point here to give him a penalty die. Perhaps, she gets hot under the collar and she begins adjusting the dress that she's wearing to distract him. If this is what he is so interested in.
Sure. I think that's a fair use. Yeah. All right. He's currently trying to convince her that this would be a good idea. That maybe this is how lords and ladies of the Reach do it.
Holy
She'd definitely be
shit.
suspicious of that.
Not that he's much better. Not that he's much better at that than the other one. How do we do penalty dice here? I mean,
You
I
would
think
roll
you
the
roll it.
dice, and you just take away one.
And then,
let's see here.
yeah, you...
So the
He will
five
take
is-
away a 1.
Yes,
he
which
can
is an
choose?
8. Yeah, you
Does
can
he
choose,
choose?
which
Oh.
does not beat my intrigue defense.
All right, so you're unmoved by this. By his trying to convince you that this is how it's done.
My lord must understand, I have not yet had my flowering. It would be most awkward, and at this moment in time, I could not properly satisfy you in such a fashion. Perhaps were our families to form their arrangement, then we, in the future, years from now. But you should focus more on what lies ahead of you. After all, you are a noble, and certainly hearing you play, you have the pedigree and the backbone of such.
Husband says, I suppose that is an argument.
He's like halfway out of his pants at this
Like,
point.
yeah.
Like,
He's already unzipped, man.
oh, I need to cool this guy down.
Jesus Christ. Get him a cold shower, people. Woof.
He will. Yeah, I know what he'll do. But first, what are you trying to? What are you trying to accomplish?
Bree is still within the mindset, despite her nervous giggling, that she wants to maneuver him. Like, she, gently put him down. She hasn't had her flowering yet. But, he's still got so much ahead of him. Like, he's legitimized. He is an actual lord, damn it. And there are so many other things that he can have and focus his attentions on. It doesn't just have to be here in this moment, in the future.
Mm-hmm. Vague promises.
Yes, vague promises, I guess.
So that's almost seduction, I'd say.
She can't do that.
So why don't you roll that for me?
I mean, that would be a deception bluff.
That would be a
can't.
Deception bluff, I suppose.
She mechanically cannot.
She cannot. All right. Well, then we must
it would
go
have to be.
to.
It would. I think I get one die for that because it's deception.
Right.
Yes, I would get a single die. 6.
Critical.
Good.
All right.
Good roll.
But as it turns out, he's backing down anyway, because it does make sense what you said, and you have convinced him that perhaps later in time.
Right. I figure the whole fact that she hasn't flowered yet. I think.
Well, it's kind of a downer, but maybe he hasn't had that much attention from ladies yet.
Yeah.
So
He never thought quite that far ahead, and poor kid.
But he will certainly sort of nod and say,